Holyfans. Did you ever pay money just to be ignored? Welcome to Holyfans. It's simping with a subscription. It looks like fun. It feels like fantasy. But what you're really doing is trading dignity for digital validation. You pay to pretend you're part of her world, when in reality, you're just a pixel in her income stream. A monthly tip jar for an illusion. She doesn't see you. She sees your username on a leaderboard of loneliness. You're not connecting. You're consuming over and over. You think it's just a small indulgence, a victimless pleasure, but over time it hollows something out, your drive. The same energy that built civilizations, fought wars, created art, gets rerouted into comments and clicks. You become an observer of desire, not a participant. You feel it. You feel the gap between who you are and who you want to be widening every month. Holyfans isn't intimacy, it's identity erosion. The cost isn't $9.99. It's dignity, it's confidence, it's the slow death of self-respect. Alcohol. It's not just a drink, it's an escape route sold in six-packs and cocktails. Alcohol isn't a beverage, it's a socially accepted off switch. It isn't about taste, it's about escape. One sip and suddenly the volume of your thoughts drops. The edge dulls, the ache blurs. You call it relaxing, unwinding, being social. But really, it's sedation disguised as celebration. Alcohol is the adult pacifier. We mock kids for needing a blankie, but adults, we glorify it. Wine after work, beer for the game, shots to forget. We turn dependence into a personality. Just one drink becomes a ritual, a reflex, a requirement. And the worst part? It works. It really does take the edge off. But it also takes the edges off you, your sharpness, your clarity, your ambition. You don't need a nightcap, you need to feel the pressure, feel the loneliness. Alcohol doesn't erase your problems, it just delays their delivery. And every sip buys silence at the cost of your soul. You're not relaxing, you're drinking away your life. Tolerating just okay. It's not bad is the biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself. Welcome to the gray zone where dreams go to retire. Just okay is comfort that calcifies. It tricks your nervous system into settling. You stop chasing excellence, not because you failed, but because you stopped believing excellence was necessary. And soon, you're no longer alive, you're just maintaining. Mediocrity doesn't scream, it whispers. It whispers, "This is fine," until that whisper becomes your inner voice. And once that voice sets in, you stop asking the big questions. You stop dreaming radically. You stop trying. Here's the truth. Numbness is not peace. You weren't built for neutral. You were built for impact. Growth, after all, always feels like discomfort. Always. So if something in your life feels just okay, that's your signal. That's the enemy. Because just okay is where potential goes to die. The snooze cycle. You don't wake up when you hit snooze. You escape. For 9 more minutes, you're no longer responsible, no longer awake, no longer here. What you're doing isn't resting, it's psychological destruction in disguise. Each time you slap that button, you fracture the one thing your brain needs most in the morning: certainty. The wake-sleep cycle isn't just about time, it's about the message you send to your mind. Your brain wakes up expecting a plot, a direction, a purpose. But instead, it gets bait and switched over and over again. And the damage isn't just grogginess. Studies show snoozing breaks cognitive momentum. It lowers reaction time, disrupts working memory, and increases impulsiveness. Your mind starts the day stalling, and in that pause, you become more vulnerable to distraction, to weakness, to delay. You think you're stealing rest, but you're trading away clarity, identity, and resilience. The real flex? Getting up when it sucks. No negotiation, no internal debate. You rise when it hurts, and because it hurts. That moment becomes your first win of the day, and wins, like habits, stack fast. Corn. If your browser history had a face, it would be quietly judging you right now. Corn isn't a habit, it's your self-destruction. No one talks about it out loud, but it's everywhere, on screens, in your tabs, in the quiet corners of a midnight routine. You tell yourself it's normal, just a release, just maintenance. But the truth is darker. You're not just consuming content, you're training your brain to crave without connecting. Corn doesn't just warp desire, it rewires the reward system. Dopamine gets dumped on demand. Effort becomes obsolete. Intimacy, irrelevant. You stop chasing experiences and start chasing pixels. You convince yourself it's harmless, but deep down, you know. You feel the numbness. You feel the erosion. It's not about shame, it's about cost. Every time you click, you're reinforcing a feedback loop that says satisfaction is solitary. Real people become harder to connect with. Real intimacy becomes work. And eventually, real people become unattractive. That screen isn't an outlet, it's a cage. Every time you close the tab, you're not just quitting a video, you're reclaiming your life. Cush. The devil's lettuce isn't a gateway drug, it's a gateway to mediocrity. One puff and suddenly your life dreams become vitamin C. You inhale the smoke and the world slows down. Finally, a break from the grind. But what starts as a timeout becomes a time loop. At first, it feels like clarity. Thoughts stretch, music hits deeper, food becomes divine. Showers feel like TED Talks. But then your edge starts to fade. You lose urgency. Time melts. And your goals? They start sounding like, maybe later. Mary Jane's real danger isn't addiction, it's erosion. Not of your lungs, but your hunger. The fire that made you build, chase, risk, it softens. You say it's just to relax, just to unwind. But slowly, relaxation turns to avoidance. And avoidance becomes your identity. And that gateway? It's not to harder drugs, it's to softer standards. You stop aiming high because being high becomes enough. You stop pushing forward because floating feels easier. And eventually, life becomes background noise between hits. You don't need a wake and bake. You need a reason to wake up without it. Because being chill isn't peace. Being numb isn't healed. If your ambition's being outsourced to a rolled-up plant, it might be time to breathe different air. Hoarding notifications. Your phone has more badges than a Boy Scout, and none of them come with survival skills. 37 unread emails, 12 missed DMs, 6 app updates. Congratulations, you're the mayor of Dopamineville. Every ping, a tiny trophy. Every red dot, a slot machine hit. But you're not winning, you're losing. Notifications don't inform, they fragment. They turn your brain into a broken timeline where everything is urgent and nothing is important. You're not choosing what to focus on, you're reacting. Each unread alert is a little grenade of attention. You think you're being efficient, multitasking like a productivity god, but what you're actually doing is giving away micro packets of clarity, over and over, until your brain becomes allergic to deep work, to inactivity, to silence. And then there's the addiction. You check your phone at red lights, in elevators, during conversations. You stop waiting for meaning and start fiending for novelty. Your mind is trained not to rest, but to reload. Turn off the notifications, mute the icons, delete the digital clutter that confuses urgency with importance. Because your focus isn't just a resource, it's life's currency. And right now, you're spending it on noise that you will never remember. Unkept bed. Your bed isn't just furniture, it's a billboard. And every morning, it screams one of two things. This person is in control, or this person gave up before coffee. Seriously, how you treat your bed is a glitch-level insight into your mental state. Skipping that 30-second task doesn't seem like much, but it starts a cascade. You tell your brain, details don't matter, and your brain listens. Chaos in the sheets turns into clutter in the head. One undone corner becomes 2 skipped habits, which become 5 ignored goals, all before breakfast. Making your bed doesn't upgrade your room, it upgrades your rhythm. It's a micro win, a tiny act of order, a decision to begin with structure instead of spiraling into scroll mode or doom loops. Your environment isn't neutral, it's constantly programming you. And when you walk back into that room later, it doesn't judge, it reminds. That crisp surface says, you showed up for yourself today. And if your own space treats you like someone who matters, maybe, just maybe, you'll start acting like it.